Hello, my name is Kait and welcome to Habits of a Modern Hippie. If you haven't been here before, we have Tinkerbell and Miko. And I have my iPad here with a bunch of questions loaded. So as you can see from the title, we are doing an AMA or question and answer once again. You guys have loved these on the channel before. I do them every so often on both my Instagram and the pups Instagram as well. So if you want to go check us out there, you are more than welcome to do that. And while we're on the topic, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below if you are new. Hello. We do lots of health and wellness content both for myself and for our fluffy friends. But let's go ahead and jump into the questions because this is going to be a long one. So as I am answering these questions, I'm going to go ahead and be grooming my two pups. And I will just give you a quick rundown of some of the most frequently asked questions I get. Tinkerbell and Miko are both purebred Samoyeds. They are actually half-sisters. The comb I am grooming with, I literally only use one grooming tool, and it is this comb. I always link to it in the down bar. It is the Andes comb, and it's usually around $10 on Amazon. It is wonderful for double-coated dogs. Hi, what are you doing? Well, yes, question number one. Why is Miko's coat / fur so different from Tinkerbell's? So Tinkerbell, hi, was spayed when she was younger. I was not ready for puppies. Miko will eventually have, I'm still thinking, she will have puppies, but when you spay a Samoyed's coat, it can actually change the coat. If you think about it, like think about women going through essentially menopause, and sometimes they can get interesting hair in places. And the same-ish thing happens with dogs. It's a hormone change. So Miko's coat is her natural coat, whereas Tinkerbell's coat is a little bit different because of hormones. The next one is, what is the story of how you got your dogs? Now, Tinkerbell and Miko are from the same breeder. I had a wonderful experience getting Tinkerbell. Everything was perfect and fine. I went back to the same breeder, they have the same father, to get Miko, and unfortunately I had an absolutely terrible experience. Miko is a healthy, happy pup, but the reason I don't talk about them here on the channel is it was a whole hullabaloo, so not dealing with it. But the experience of getting them in general, hey fuzzies, I love Samoyeds. I like to say I had Samoyeds since before I was born. When my mom was pregnant with me, she had already had her first Samoyed, and I learned how to walk using a Samoyed. So I've had Samoyeds my entire life and absolutely love them. And so I knew that when I got my own pups, I wanted them to be Samoyeds. And then the next question is, are taking care of dogs hard? Dogs in general are a lot of work. It makes sense that they are a lot of work. You know, they're an animal, and an animal that needs love, affection, care, all of that. But Samoyeds in particular are not a beginner dog. They are absolutely sweet, super, super smart, and I know they are very cute, but they are smart to the point that, oh boy, where do I even start? They know exactly what you want them to do, but they choose whether or not to do it. They need to be stimulated constantly. They need to be brushed daily. For this video, I have not brushed the dogs for about 5 days, so it's going to take quite a while to brush them up. But Samoyeds are well worth it, but I would not suggest a Samoyed for a brand new dog owner. I like to say that Samoyeds are very, very stubborn in general, but what makes them super sweet and really desirable also makes them harder to train. And I actually see a lot of Samoyeds that end up in shelters are because newbie didn't know how to train them, so they thought their dog was dumb or not listening, and it's actually the opposite. Next one, what do you do with all the fluff after grooming? And that depends on what time of year it is. I know this can be somewhat controversial. I do take a little bit of the fur and I leave it outside. Lots of birds love to nest with Samoyed fur, which is really fun. You can also, it's obviously because it's hair, I put it in biodegradable bags. Or Samoyed hair, actually, I call hair instead of fur, but it's slightly different than a normal fur because it does not produce dander. So technically, Samoyeds are hyperallergenic, though I would not recommend them for people with allergies, mainly because the sheer amount of hair and other allergens that the Samoyed hair can bring in is quite intense. As you can see, Miko is starting to blow her coat a little bit, so she's getting like chunks out of her legs, but it is not quite ready to come up with the comb yet, which is why every once in a while those little puffs are coming up. But there may be a video coming soon, because when I was younger, one of my aunts knew how to spin fiber into yarn. And Samoyed hair is actually really good for that, so I've been saving it for a while, and I might try my hand at seeing if I could figure out how to get Samoyed fur into wool. If you guys want to see that, let me know either with a comment or liking the video down below, because I feel like that would be kind of ridiculous, and I'm excited to try. Will you adopt cats? I won't in this house. My mom's cat had been here for quite a long amount of time. Shade, you might have seen him on our Instagrams. But I love dogs. I absolutely do. And cats are one of those things that I know there are a lot of different personalities of cats, but I love animals who want to like snuggle me, and I feel like cats are very solitary and aloof in my experience, so I probably wouldn't. However, eventually I want to live on a small farm, and living on a farm, I think having cats for the rodent problem would be a really great idea. How long would you leave Tink and Meek home alone for? They are very cute, by the way. Thank you. I work from home actually, so I don't leave them at home very often. I always say the smallest amount of time you can possibly leave your dogs at home, you are more than welcome to do so. I don't usually go for more than like 6 hours. I know some people can, but we have things like Rover and all of that that can make things a lot easier for you if you do work outside of the home. But at the very most 8 hours, but that doesn't ever happen. That doesn't happen. I love you guys too much. I want to spend all my time with you. If Tink and Meek were called something else, what would they be called? So, a toddler actually answered this one for me. I don't remember the exact circumstance, but I know I was in a parking lot somewhere and I had this absolutely adorable little, maybe like 3 or 4-year-old come up to us while I was walking both Tinkerbell and Miko. And I had called them Tink and Miko, and the little kid thought I said tank and meatball, and if they were men and had alter egos, that would 100% have to be their names. Alright, we have swapped sides on Miko. Miko is not blowing her coat yet, so she is actually not shedding very much, but once you get to Tinkerbell, that is going to change. Next, are you a morning person or a night owl? 100% night owl. I feel like I am the most productive in between like 7 p.m. and 1 a.m. and I would rather stay up until 4 or 5 than have to wake up at 4 or 5. So I am 100% a night owl. Will you get another dog? So I had been thinking about getting another dog. That is actually why Miko isn't spayed, because I wanted another Samoyed and I wanted to keep it in the family. However, if you guys don't know, my friend Em from Emzotic here on YouTube moved in with me, and I didn't realize how many dogs 3 dogs is until you have 3 dogs living with you. So it's been a lot. I think it might be different if the dog would come in as a puppy and kind of be like trained up to be exactly one of the pack. And I think I would get another female. So while I absolutely love Kiba, having a male in the house is a little bit different energy-wise than having females. What are your dog's worst habits? Oh my goodness. Worst habits, 100% for both of them, as they are terrible in the car. They are very well trained in a lot of things, but oh dear Lord, are these girls loud in the car. And it's not because they're like nervous or scared or anything of the sort, but it's because whenever we're in the car, they're going somewhere fun. Like, they love to go to the vet. We go hiking all the time. It's like the dog park. Anywhere we're going in the car that they're coming, they know that it's like very exciting. And I have tried every trick under the sun, training, etc. I have read books, I have watched videos here on YouTube, and nothing will make them shut up in the car. When we're going there, on the way back, perfect silence, no big deal. They know we're going home. It is a pain in the butt. Come here. You gotta get up? Yeah, we're gonna switch to Tinkerbell. We are. Do you not want to switch? Get up here. Come on. Mickey. This dog. One of the next questions is actually kind of perfect for this, and it is, who is your favorite Samoyed and why is it Miko? I absolutely love both of my pups, and I do not have a favorite. The reason why a lot of people think I like Miko better is this is Miko. She is absolutely ridiculous and wants to be Velcro. She loves being in front of the camera. As soon as you get a camera out, she is up and posed and ready to play. She wants to be in your face, on your feet, and loves being in front of the camera. Huh, you do. Whereas Tinkerbell is not as much. She is an absolute snugglebug, but if you take out the phone, she's kind of like, not sure how I feel about this. Doesn't want to kind of be in the fray of everything. So a lot of people think I like Miko more because Miko is easier on camera than Tinkerbell is. Tinkerbell doesn't want to pose as much, and I'm not going to force any of my dogs to do things that they don't want to do, which is why Tink isn't usually as active, I guess, on social media, because she likes to be a little bit low-key and chill behind the scenes, and she's actually turning, she's actually turning 9 this month, which blows my mind, and so she's getting older as well, so she's not as like peppy and in your face. Huh, Miki? Can you get up on the couch, please, though? Remember how I talked about the coat difference earlier? This was little Miko's grooming. This isn't like a super intensive groom, they just needed to be brushed because we've been on a couple hikes and I wanted to hold off for a few days for this video. But Tinkerbell sheds like a crazy person. Ha! Now I'm scrolling through some of these questions and there are a lot about both Em and Kiba, which makes sense because Em is kind of a big deal here on YouTube. But if you don't know who I'm talking about Em. Emma Locke, she is Emzotic here on YouTube. I absolutely adore her and she's currently my roommate here in Denver. Yeah, as you can, Tink's just crazy already. So, one of the questions was, how do I know Emma? I've actually never referred to her as Emma. She's always been Em to me. But she actually slid into my DMs, well, the dog's DMs here on their Instagram, because she had seen one of my grooming videos, which, by the way, if you're interested in how to groom, etc., I have a whole playlist. I'll put it on the screen. But it was before she got Kiba and had some more specific questions about how to groom, and I was like, oh, I've seen you before. I saw her like why I quit being a zookeeper video, so I knew who she was. and we started chatting, realized that we had a lot of things in common, and now we're good friends. So when she needed a new place to stay, I was like, you should come out here, and she did. So now I have a roommate, and she is lovely. So there's Em, and a few of her animals came with her, including Kiba, and there are lots of questions about Kiba as well. The one I'm seeing on the screen right now is Kiba a Samoyed? And no, he is not. He is Eurasian. Em and I actually had this conversation the other day because I hadn't heard of a Eurasian before, but apparently it's more common in, where are you going? More common in like Europe and some other countries over there, and not so much in America. But it was a breed that was established in, I think she said, the 1950s. I don't quote me on that. But there is a little bit of Samoyed in the Eurasian breed, but no, Kiba is a Eurasian, not a Samoyed. And I got a lot of questions as to how the dogs are getting along. They are definitely a pack. Kiba and Tinkerbell get on very well. They have so much fun, which is part of the reason that you are such a knotted mess right now. They all have a lot of fun in the yard, and Kiba is such a good boy. He got on with them like fairly immediately. But neither one of my girls have been protective over food with any of the other dogs. So my brother had a dog who lived here, and my mom's cat lived here for a while, and I've had lots of friends come over and stay with their dogs, and they've never been food protective before. However, Miko is very food protective. She won't like go after him, but she like growls if he comes near her bowl. So that's a little interesting, but no issues there. We're like training them out of it, but you know, new member to the pack and a new grown member as well, and the first male dog. Well, my brother's dog was male, but he was half Mastiff, half Great Dane, so it was a very different versus Kiba, who actually looks like a black Samoyed. But yeah, so that has been doing quite well. They all snuggle together. I know I've mentioned Instagram about a million times by now, but over on Instagram, you'll see that they like hang out on the couches together. They play really well. They go on walks together. They're getting along very well. And one of the other questions I get is, how are my dogs doing with the rest of Em's animals? And my dogs are super chill when it comes to animals in general. They have baby chicks in the house right now. I have a rabbit. They have chickens in the backyard. They are fine with all of that. Is there a trick to taming the behind the ear knots on the pups other than a regular brush? And no. Because Samoyed's fur is the way it is, it's fine and very long. It gets tangled very easily. I, on purpose, didn't brush them as much as I normally would for this video, so I would kind of be more entertaining for you guys. But even if I'm not going to give them a whole brush on their body, I do brush under their armpits, behind their ears, and their chests every single day. I have multiples of these combs. I keep one in my bedroom and a couple down here. But for the behind the ears, it's just brush the crap out of it all of the time. And that will help prevent mats. If you do ever have mats back there that are kind of getting a pain to get out, what are you doing? You gotta lie back down, sweet pea. Oh, no. Is my leg in the way? Here. Nope. We switched positions. Tink was trying to lie down and my leg was in the way. By the way, whenever I have my leg under, they're not actually pinned. Like, there's plenty of room in here. But, what was I saying? Oh, if you ever get mats behind the ears that are a pain in the butt, you can use a little bit of coconut oil. I have a video on here that's like how to get burrs out of your dog's fur, and it's the same kind of action. Use a little bit of coconut oil, use the wide tooth bit of this comb and just kind of pull it slowly out, and you should be able to get it out. And behind the ears, generally speaking, I say do not take a pair of scissors anywhere near your dogs unless it is their feet, or your Samoyeds unless it is their feet. But if you do need to clip out mats behind their ears, that's something that I'm not against either. Getting my Sammy pup in June, just wondering your favorite things about the girls. So, Sammys in general are a really sweet, really protective breed, and that means they're both snuggly and just absolutely adorable. But specifically, my girls, I think Tinkerbell and Miko both have their very own personalities. Miko is a little sassy pants. We call her like our court jester. She's very much so naughty in a really sweet way, and I love that about her. But Tinkerbell, she is regal and smart and like very, very intelligent. She's one of those dogs that you can like see her thinking and know that that she's just like processing things in her head. She knows exactly what I'm thinking and feeling. She's the first one to come snuggle when I feel sad. She is just very, very intuitive as a pup. So I love that Miko keeps everything light, and I love that Tinkerbell loves to keep everyone like happy and safe. What is the hardest part about owning a Samoyed? Wow, I guess just all the work that goes into it. I love them, and I mean, all the other dog breeds that I would want are probably equally amount of work. But the hardest thing, I guess, is, I'm going to pivot this a little bit. Being on the internet with a Samoyed, I feel like I have a responsibility because I have a platform. You know, they have 70-something thousand on Instagram. I'm an Instagram personality. I have this YouTube channel, and I show all of the absolutely amazing things about Samoyeds, but I do feel like I have a responsibility to be like, hey, Samoyeds are so much work, they're really worth it, but like, don't get one if you're not ready, because a lot of people see these like absolutely beautiful fluff balls and are just like, I want that because it's aesthetically pleasing, and don't realize that Samoyeds need a ton of training because they are so smart. You need to figure out how to be an alpha. You need to groom them daily, give them exercise. Samoyeds, as they get older, are prone to growing overweight and diabetes. You have some of them get hip problems. Tinkerbell's going a little deaf. They are amazing dogs, but they are so much work. So I guess it's like having a toddler that never grows up. They're amazing, but the hardest thing about having a Samoyed is kind of being like, these are great dogs, I love them, I want to share them with you, but please don't get one if you're ready. And I get so many emails and so many questions like, hey, I'm a first-time dog owner, will you teach me how to train a Samoyed? And I was like, please don't start there. Just don't do it unless you grew up with dogs, and especially if you grew up with really smart dogs. A Samoyed is not a good first dog. Get something absolutely sweet but easy, like a lab or a golden, that are fluffy and adorable and absolutely adorable as puppies, but are a lot easier to train. What are the Clouds' favorite food? They have a lot of different favorite foods. You guys know that they love pretty much anything that comes from I and Love and You. They absolutely love their grass-fed, free-range beef ears. I'll put a picture of those on the screen and a link down below. But their favorite, like, non-dog treat, absolutely love carrots. There are carrots all over this house all of the time. I buy them in giant Costco-sized bags. They love those. What else do they steal? Tinkerbell loves green beans a lot, which is really fun. But overall, anything crunchy and green, they're big fans of. And anything like meaty as well. How long did it take you to train the pups to like grooming? Tips. Tinkerbell still doesn't like grooming very much. Miko doesn't really care. Tink just kind of like subdues. She's like, fine, you can do it. But I started grooming the first day I got both of my dogs, and I think that's really important. Just get a comb, get your little puppy going, and just get them used to it. Some dogs will never like grooming, but they will tolerate you, like Tinkerbell. And especially with Samoyed, you have to absolutely make sure that that is the case, because they need to be groomed extensively and often. And if you do want tips, I literally have like a whole grooming series. It's called like Grooming a Samoyed 101 on my channel here, and I go into super depth, like how to line comb, how to like get behind their ears and their bellies and all of that as well. How do you want to positively impact the world? I love that one. That is so fun. Honestly, what I'm doing on Habits of a Modern Hippie, I want to impact. I always, my little like tagline for that says, welcome to the health world. We're not that scary. You can still wear your great shoes. And I grew up in a way that was super like down to earth, in like the actual like being down to earth. My mom is a naturopathic doctor and an herbalist, but my dad was a business executive, and so I ended up somewhere in the middle. I feel like I was afforded the opportunity to learn how to garden. I was born in Vermont and was on a horse before I could walk. And I got to learn about plants and cooking and what's good for me as I was growing up. And I know a lot of people weren't afforded that same luxury. And how I started Habits of a Modern Hippie was originally just recipe sharing, like healthy recipes, and it is extended to kind of like an overall health and wellness lifestyle, which is why there's so much different type of content here on Habits of a Modern Hippie here on YouTube. And I want to show people that you can transition both your lifestyle and your health into kind of like a more holistic way of living. And holistic in general means like mind, body, habits, the whole shebang. So by taking care of yourself, taking care of your mental health, taking care of your physical health, paying attention to things that are going on in the environment, and lessening your own footprint while still connecting with people. I think all of that is really important, and that's what I want to do for the world. I want to kind of show people through experience that wellness is a journey, and it is something that is attainable, and there's no one way to look at something and be like, this is the right way. I think it's just kind of everybody's wellness is going to be different, but all of us can do little things that change the world in a big way. I have so many questions, I think, in just these last few slides, 4 or 5, about recall for Samoyeds. I have been promising a video about this, and I will do that soon. Social distancing has been a little hard because I want to show you the steps as to how that works, and so it needs to be like in a house and then in a park and then a long area. But figure out what your dog is most excited by. So it could be playtime. Both of my pups are very food motivated, or praise, anything like that. Figure out what makes your pups the happiest, and then take slow steps in order to make that happen. I constantly have treats in my pockets on hikes. You'll see that I like to hike out of the way, in the backwoods, things like that, to make sure that there isn't any opportunity for the dogs to wander into something like a street, etc. But recall is a process, and it's never going to be perfect, and you always have to re-up and keep working on it. So I'd never be like, oh yeah, my dogs have perfect recall, and then we don't go hiking for 4 months because I broke my foot, well, my ankle, and they're not as good as they used to be because they haven't had that training being kept up. But yes, I will make a whole video about that. But small steps, start with a short leash, start in the house, and then slowly work up to outside of the house with distractions with a longer leash, and then slowly but surely make your way up to longer distances. The other thing with me too is I have different there's different tones of voice that I use. So there's like a fun, happy come versus like come now, and they know that the difference between the tone of my voice, like come is like, oh, okay, you can like take your time, you know, like come in. And then come is like an immediately like turn around, yes. I also have too far and wait. And both of those are different types of recall. So wait, the dogs will either slow down or wait where they are. And too far, they know that they have to stop, turn around, and come back to me. What is a place you want to travel to in the future? Ooh, everywhere. I am a big traveler. I've been to, I think it's 24 or 26 countries, I can't remember. I've been traveling ever since I was really young. My first solo travel was with one of the US soccer teams down to Auckland in New Zealand to train with the New Zealand national team, and then I did soccer tournaments in Sydney and Canberra, and I was 13, I think. So that was really fun, and I got the travel bug after that, but because my father's job was in travel, we did travel. So I remember being young, getting to like test out like a fancy hotel in Mexico and all of that. But top on my list soon is absolutely would love to go to Greece. I want to either like Santorini, something like that. The ones that are like all white and blue, and just Greece looks amazing. I'm such a beach baby. It always makes me laugh that I ended up in the mountains here in Colorado because I'm a water baby and I absolutely love the beach. I also want to go back to Australia because I haven't been since I was that young, and I'd like to go back as an adult. And I would also love to go snorkel the Great Barrier Reef. And then Iceland, hopefully during the fall solstice, I would love to see the Northern Lights in Iceland. I did see them when I lived in Vermont, but I was a baby, and so I know I like, once again, haven't seen them as an adult. But yes, I think, oh my gosh, and like Honduras, Belize, I want to go everywhere. I just want to go everywhere. I think it would be so much fun. All right, and the last one for now, because Tink is getting a little restless. Tink isn't the best, like the biggest fan of getting groomed, so me being distracted and talking to you is making her feel a little anxious. I can actually feel her heart rate going up. So I will keep filming, but I'm not going to talk to you, so you'll probably see a time lapse coming up here soon. But it says, what are the bears' horoscopes? And I don't think I actually know. So let me know what they are, and if you think that they are correct. So, hi sweet girl, I know. Tinkerbell is April 28th, and Miko, who is very much so asleep over here, is November 2nd. So I don't know what they are. I am a Cancer, and am very stereotypically Cancer, as you can see from my home. So yes, but I don't know what they are. The reason I love astrology. I'm very woo-woo, as you guys very well so know. But growing up telling me that I was Cancer the crab, I was very displeased as a child to have to, one, be called Cancer, and two, be a crab. So, a little different. But we're going to transition into that time lapse here. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked chatty Q&As like this, leave me some new questions down below and give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you again soon. Bye!